Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I thought it'd be fun to do this video with the cows in the background, so we set up a bench over here, and we'll just film over here with cows for a little while. They're down there grazing. We just moved them to this paddock this morning, and they're enjoying a little bit of fresh grass. We're gonna leave them here for probably about 2 weeks. This is a little bit small area, so we're gonna overgraze this a little bit. And part of the reason that we're gonna overgraze this is because it does sit on the front of our house, so we actually use them not on the front of our house, but it's like the front pasture driving up to our house. And so it's kind of an ornamental thing, so we tend to overgraze this one to keep the grass low, just because it looks nicer. And then the other reason too is that we want to really get some manure and some carbon in this soil, and so we're going to leave the cows here to help build that a little bit. So they'll eat grass here. They'll have fresh grass in this area for about 3 days, and then they'll start going on a high protein hay with their nutrient supplements and everything. And you know, y'all know we use like kelp and stuff like that for nutritional supplements. So they'll be on that for, like I said, probably 10 days to 2 weeks. 2 weeks might be a little bit long. About 10 days. Basically, I follow the Joe Soliton method, that if you're smelling manure, you're smelling mismanagement. So the moment we think that we get a whiff of it in the air, we'll move them off of it and let that nutrient really soak into the soil. So it's kind of interesting. But not what I want to talk to you guys about today. What I wanted to talk to you guys about today is what the hell is going on. And what I mean by that is we've got an administration that is telling us that now our recession is not identifying as a recession. They've changed the definition. And we've got Amazon now telling us that they can't ship Mylar bags. Which, by the way, if y'all are looking for Mylar bags, I'll put a link down in the description for a company I found online. I do not have an affiliate with them. I just found a company that was about 40% the price of what Amazon was charging for Mylar bags. And they have every size imaginable. They have good quality Mylar bags. Shipping was real reasonable. So even my total price was about 60% less than what it was to get the exact same thing off of Amazon. So I'll post their link down in the description so y'all can follow that. Then then we have the Fed. They raised the basis points, 75 basis points yesterday morning. And so, sorry, got a bee buzzing around me. Hive's doing great, by the way, but 75 basis points. And what is that going to do? Well, it's not really going to do anything, because we have to, in order to actually fight anything, you actually have to have the basis points, the Fed funds rate above inflation, and above true inflation, not the advertised inflation of 9%, but the true inflation that actually sits, I believe it's like closer to 17% right now. And so you'd have to have a Fed funds rate at 20% in order to actually beat inflation and actually get this curbed. The interesting thing is there's some concepts of as money starts getting paid back on some of these, then it could potentially lower it. But the fact is that it doesn't matter who pays it back. If the federal government isn't paying it back, if the federal government is borrowing more than what we can pay back in a year, then at that point in time, there's no way to ever get control of inflation. We're just on a downward spiral. So I think that we're headed towards a really, really rough winter. I think that we're headed towards a rough year next year. I think 2023 is going to be very harsh. And I think food shortages are going to continue to get worse. Manolin read me a statistic this morning that in today, they say less than 1% of houses have a backyard garden. And I would venture to say that of that 1%, or of the 99% remaining, less than 1% of those probably even know how to raise a garden, and they seem to think that they can just throw seed on the ground and get a tomato plant. And anybody that's gardened, you guys all know that's not the way it works. You have to amend the soil. You have to take time to build the soil. You have to have your infrastructure in place. So raised beds and tomato, whatever you're growing, your tomatoes on, your beans or whatever. You have to have trellises up to be able to do that. And so it takes time to build these things. You can't just go buy cows without knowing what you're doing and having at least an idea of what you're doing and produce any type of a quality product. I remember, and we'd raised cows growing up, so I had an idea of what I was going into. And then all of a sudden we got our very first cows, and they were scraggly that first year. We did not have a good product that first year we put cows out, and luckily it was just for us and friends and family, and we weren't selling anything at the time. And then, we elected to raise even a harder breed cow, because heritage breed cows are hard to put meat on, guys. They For those of you, we have some people that are subscribed here that bought some beef from us and that'll have beef this winter, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. It is hard to get fat on grass-fed cattle, especially heritage breed cattle. Now the meat quality is exceptional, but it is very difficult to get fat on those, and so we always tell everybody, don't expect a high fat content with these cows. They just don't have it. They have great flavor, but so growing food, bottom line, is a very steep learning curve. You have to figure out a lot of things very quickly. Each year you do it, it gets better, and you progress in your knowledge, and you make your systems much more efficient, and you save yourself a lot of headache every year. Each year we do this, we save ourselves more and more headaches, but it takes time, and if you're not getting ready for this now, you're going to have some problems going forward. You're going to really struggle this fall when food prices continue to skyrocket. You're going to really struggle in the springtime when this year's grain prices come into play. And right now, we're seeing a slight dip in the grain prices, and that generally happens this time of the year as the harvest comes in, and then it'll start going back up until as the stores run out next year. So this is the time here in the air at the end of the harvest season here when you're going to start seeing those prices rise, and I think that's going to be very telling as to how much problems the fertilizer shortage really caused. I think it caused a lot. I think that you're going to see a lot of grains drastically underperforming this year, and not having enough nitrogen in their soil to actually grow effective grains. Things like corn requires a lot of nitrogen in the soil, and so we're organic farmers, guys. We're not about using that stuff, but you can't wean the whole world off of it overnight. It has to be, it's like weaning a crack addict. You have to do it a little bit at a time. So guys, this is a whoa, getting a little close, I can hear. This is we're getting into a scary time with the food shortages, and so what I want you guys to take away from this is that for some reason Amazon doesn't want us to store food in Mylar bags, and I'm not sure why that is. For some reason we're changing the terminology on what a recession is, and presumably that's so that our certain politicians look better come November. Let's put it that way. I think certain politicians want to come out trying to smell like a rose as close to November as possible, and they can say that we're not in a recession because we changed the definition of it, and it's no longer 2 consecutive quarters. Now it's no longer identifying as a recession. Then that's going to probably fool a few people, but in all, I don't think it's going to matter for the polling numbers that we're seeing now. Man, she's just getting up here, isn't she? Hey, sweet girl. Guys, I love raising cows. They're a lot of fun. And if you guys don't have livestock on your little homesteads and farms yet, you gotta be patient. The day will come, but don't rush it. But it's a lot of fun having the livestock here and having the cows. So you can see here what I was talking about. These cows, they just, let me turn this a little bit. See her? She looks pretty good, actually. She's filled out pretty well, but see how just lean muscle this breed of cow is. No matter how much they eat, they just stay really lean. We'll pack on a little bit of weight on them 90 days out, and we'll start feeding them and finishing them out so that they will put on some weight. But heritage breed cows, guys, don't get big. They're a neat cow, and they taste really good, but they don't get big and they don't have a lot of fat on them. So anyways, I'm digressing now into a different topic. So really what I want to leave this at is that we need to be preparing for the winter time coming, and we really should be looking out further to next spring. Now is the time to start taking care of things on your property. If you got things that need to be fixed, to get them off your plate. Start going through that to-do list. Get your food stored up, and start getting your land to produce something. Fruit trees, nut trees, stuff like that. Yes, I get it. They take several years before they start producing anything, but it's certainly going to be better now than never. And one of the things that you have to consider is that we very potentially could be heading into at least a global incident, if not a full-on war. And if that happens, you're talking 10 years of food shortages. And so, those fruit and nut trees that you plant now, 3 years from now, 4 years, 5 years from now might be pretty good. So guys, I'm going to leave y'all with that. I really appreciate y'all watching. I'm sorry we haven't had the videos out, but make sure and like and subscribe to the channel, and we will catch y'all later.